So we are live. Welcome, guys. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm here with two titans of the art industry from very different spaces. So we're here with Barrie Mowatt, the founder of the Vancouver Biennale, who's been very generous to work with us over the last few months and help us make this event and really drive this event. And I'm here with La Virgin del Crypto, who's a good friend of mine, James, the founder of Ephimera. James owns arguably, but probably objectively, the best crypto art collection in existence. And no question, if anyone wants to see his chapel, I highly recommend a visit on Crypto Voxels, especially on a day when the crypto market is doing so well. It's good to go and give thanks to La Virgin del Crypto. Certainly the best time. And it's also a great honor and a great pleasure for us to welcome Barrie onto Ephimera. He's going to make an account and maybe even collect and have a look at the art that we have, and we're fascinated to get his perspective. I'll let Barrie say a few words about what the Vancouver Biennale has been looking at with regards to crypto art and digital art and what they think of the space so far as they've encountered it. So what do you think, Barrie?
I'm really impressed. Of course, for me, I'm one of those old guards in the art industry and art world. So crypto is a completely new life for me. So I hope everyone will bear with me as they watch me become and make my first bids. So I feel like a bit of a novitiate. So I'm a virgin at this one. So there are two virgins in this dialogue, and it's an exciting moment. And of course, the Biennales really are about being on the cutting edge of what's happening in the art world, and we're very pleased to be able to be on the cutting edge of technology, and certainly blockchain technology, and proud to have a partner of Ephimera to walk us through and show us how to show the world how to get engaged.
For sure. So well, let's shall we do it? Shall we get you on board and get you?
Let's go for it.
All right. So
the exciting one, just something. One exciting part about this is you're in Ireland, Cork, Ireland. James is in Toronto, and I'm in Vancouver. So this really speaks to the whole idea of the new world. You know.
Right. And the artists on Ephimera and in all of these crypto art platforms are in every corner of the world. You know, it's hard to think of a country that isn't represented in some way, and it really speaks to the kind of the barrierless nature of everything. You know, everything becomes much. We complain about transactions taking time and loading screens and things like that. But when you think of that, this is all we're communicating directly with people all over the world. It puts it in perspective, I think.
Right.
And it's kind of. So.
Barrie, can you tell us a little bit about what's your thought process when you're collecting art?
Right. A bit of all of that, but I've been in the game for a long time, and you talk about your 10,000 hours to become an expert. So instead of my own area, I've probably got at least 200,000 hours in there. So I sort of look at artists from the perspective of what's new and exciting in the art world. Are they doing something distinct in various mediums or such? And of course, the mediums we're talking about right now, lens-based art, is certainly much more of where I want to be, and because it's about the future. I don't want to deal with what I call old art. I've done that. I'm tired of that. So what are the new trends, and what stability might there be in that? And with that, there's always risk. So when I'm looking at an artist in this way, I'm looking to see the consistency. I mean, is the work they're doing, is there a theme that flows through that? Are they storytelling? Is it sheer action-packed? Is it glitter and smash and prettiness? Or is it what's going to hold me, and how consistent is how they're working and moving through their medium? Now, with the new technologies, it's so very, very young, it's really challenging. It's a matter of saying, okay, when you look at 2 and 3 years and 4 and 5 years as a maximum history, that's really, really short. So there's a high risk factor in that. But in all of that, it's a matter of, is there a consistency and a flow that would suggest that the artist is not just coming from 1,000 different spaces. So that's a critical factor for me. Historically, it would be looking at age. If you're at a certain age and you haven't achieved certain kinds of status in the art world, in the traditional art world, museum collections, major private collectors, things like that, if you haven't had major commissions, that reduces my interest in terms of the long-term perspective of that artist from an investment perspective. So those are key factors. Historically it would have been geography also. Is there a geographical factor? A Canadian significant artist may not rank in the international realm. As in any country, I used to always say there's only a handful of really significant artists from any country, no matter what the population is, that can rise on the international stage. So there are regional markets, there are national markets, and there are international markets. And of course, crypto and blockchain takes you into the world. So it's basically the world market now. So it's looking at artists from wherever they are in the world, is then looking at the kind of work they're producing. Galleries, artists, their objective is to make sales, but bottom line, if you're in the top 10% of galleries and reputations for artists, even top 20%, your pricing is critical in terms of how the market moves. So rarely is the price visible to the general population. So you may have a price on a wall. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the price that the artwork sold for. Major collectors invariably get discounts from artists or dealers, anywhere from 20 to 30%. And so that number never shows. And the reason those discounts occur is because you're either going to be in an important collection, whether it's a museum or a very private, significant collector. So that's the difference. So there's those differences in numbers. And then what can happen in the art world is with certain dealers at the highest level of reputation, the most prominent ones, their whole intent is to push the artist's price as well as their reputation in terms of institutions and collectors. So they would do deals with their major collectors at a certain price and then instantly increase those prices in the public domain. So the next exhibition that one will see of a particular artist, those numbers will be anywhere from 2 times to 3 times higher.
Interesting. I'm a bit conscious that I don't want us to run out of time here. So am I talking
too long?
No. We could talk. We already have spoke for hours and hours already, but and we could keep going. But just for the sake of the slot that we have, I know that we're not we don't have that much time. I know that you have had a look at the marketplace already, but I suppose now we can talk you through the process of setting up an account and a profile picture and things like that. So shall we go? Shall we try it?
Yeah. There, thank you. Okay.
All right. So I know you've had a browse through.
I have. There's 3 artists whose works, actually 4 artists whose works caught my attention after going through them and spending time with them. But there's 3 that I'd like to sort of focus on. One is Hexiosis, also Martin Lucas Ostacho, and Rudolf Bugerman. So how would you like to? I'd like to go to Hexiosis. Is probably my first choice of interest.
We can, of course, but first, I don't know. Maybe you might speak a little bit as to what about it jumps out at you and why. I mean, I'm sure people might just be interested in what kind of what influences your attraction to it, and what's the idea behind it.
Well, I've got to say, I wouldn't be attracted to it just from the single passport type pick that I'm looking at. It's the fact that I took the time to go through all of these and sort of assume that there was more behind them than what I was seeing in a still pick, brought this one to my attention, because once I got into it and I snapped onto it, I liked the fact that the kaleidoscopic impact was there, and it sort of made it more interactive and engaging, and that's what's happening right now. So it's visually stimulating, visually enjoyable. From a collector perspective, I'm imagining, as was suggested, that this could be put in, and I could project this onto a wall at some point and animate space in an area which I want to animate.
What I like about this, just obviously not being as prolific a collector as yourself, but what I like about this is that it's so different from some of, like, Hexeosis is really well known in the digital art community, right? He's so immediately recognizable, and it's just so cool to see him work with video art and photography, which is makes us very.
Yeah, I like the theme of the water. I mean, it's very significant in terms of what's going on in my life and the Biennale's life these days, because we have a major project for the next year, which is We Are Ocean, Making Waves. And of course, 2021, 2030 is the year of the ocean, or the decade of the oceans through UNESCO. And we're partnering with UNESCO on a project around that. So this really speaks to the idea of the oceans and water. And of course,
like heaven.
How can one not be sort of stimulated by the actions there in water?
So shall we make a bid? Are you happy to?
I am. Yeah, I'm interested. And I think I have some history on the artist, which is consistent with what we talked about earlier. He does have some consistency in his medium, in his imagery. He has some consistency in history and pricing. So it gives me a sense of comfort that this is an artist that has some future. So I'm ready to hit submit offer. So that actually says 0.60. So here we go. And I'm hitting submit offer. It's interesting. It works there easy. So the edit, I got a $6.87.
That's the gas fee. That's the Ethereum transaction.
My total is, and that's in US dollars, I'm gathering. Okay. So here we go. The owner will be notified of your offer when it is confirmed on the network. So tell me what happens here now. So if I don't hear anything from Hexeosis, that means my offer is dead, or does it have a 24-hour time frame, or how does it work?
No time limit. So basically, the artist will get a notification to say that you've put in a bid. If he accepts the bid, you obviously there's no time limit for that. He can accept at any time. He can also reject it if he wants to kind of signal that he doesn't want to accept this bid, whatever. Or you could be outbid. So there's a few different possible outcomes, but no time limit. Just kind of what you'd expect. So the artist will have the choice: accept or wait for higher bids, or reject, or anything like that.
Okay, so what notification will I get? Will I get a ding on my machine or something, or a pop-up?
Yeah, you'll get a little red notification in the top right once the transaction has gone through. It is worth noting that the Ethereum network's a bit slow at the moment. There's a lot of volume and stuff. So, just got confirmed. So, yeah.
Okay. And so then this art is now protected. Where?
You can check it right there. You'll see it's IPFS hosted. It's right in the middle of the screen there. Under additional details. If you click on IPFS hosted, you'll see this link. So this link, this is the file itself, like the raw file in all its glory. That's stored on decentralized storage, right? So this is stored in nodes all over the world, not on any one server, right? So it means that you're safe in case anything were to happen to one server. You don't have that problem of losing your artwork. But obviously that file is pretty big. How big is that file, James? Something like is it more than 50 gigabytes, right? So yeah, that's where your artwork is stored.
There we are, 65 point. Okay. So one of the questions I want to ask, and I've been doing my reading and being the novice here, is that a number of platforms have disappeared over the last several years. And the question is, what happens to the art if your platform disappears?
Nothing at all happens to the token. Obviously, the token, if, for instance, Hexeosis were to accept your bid and you get his token, if our platform, if Ephimera disappeared in the morning, you would still have that token. You can still access the image, the artwork. You can also sell it on secondary markets. You know, there are secondary marketplaces where these tokens can be sold. People, we had a conversation yesterday with someone in the chat on the Attendify, and they were asking, you know, why do people use these platforms if the tokens, you know, it seems like it's not really decentralized. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, right now, people could, if they wanted to, trade, you know, almost exclusively on third-party, you know, platforms. But I think the reason people don't is more of an aesthetic reason. You know, it's like these platforms look good, but certainly the infrastructure could be built quickly to show all the features of this token if something were to happen to Ephimera or any of these platforms.
Okay. Since we're recording this, that's why I'm asking those questions, that maybe other people are going to ask those same questions and can all be here at one location. Do we want to try and bid on
By all means. Who's next?
Martin Lucas Ostach, actually, the Rudolf Bugerman, Tangled Trees?
Let's do it. Let's go find him. So back to marketplace.
So I think, as James pointed out, we don't want to spend all the money we have in the bank in case there's a response that wants to increase the asking price for one of the. All right. I guess one has to figure where that safety net is. So what would happen, James, for example, if I bid my full amount that I have in the bank on 3 or 4 different artists, and only one of those artists comes through and wants to, maybe I hear my own question, raise the price basically, or somebody counters, and so we have to go back into it. I'd have to go back and withdraw my offer on a couple of those other bids then, in order to.
If someone outbids you, the money that is on escrow right now in the smart contract, you receive it back automatically. If someone bids over you, you receive that money and you're free to bid again, increasing the price or bidding somewhere else, and you will receive a notification to be aware of that.
Right. And okay. So for example, so I wouldn't be able to bid on 4 different items with an amount that's greater than what I actually have in the bank then.
No, you won't be able. You won't be able. Because the moment you send the bid, you're sending the money, and like the artists have the option to accept the bid or to wait. And also, if the artist is not accepting the bid, and let's say that you find something more interesting, you can always go back to that artwork, cancel your bid, get the money back, and then bid again in something else. Right.
Okay. It's good to know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are going down to Bugerman. There's another Bugerman. Is it?
So if you click on his profile, you'll see all the work that he's made, and you'll be able to
right.
Scroll through it.
So the one I'm interested in is Tangled Trees. So have you seen this? Okay.
What about so what was it that what was it that jumped out at you with that particular piece?
Well, I really like the interestingly, we're back to water. I wouldn't have thought of that until I just noticed it again now looking at it. There's a water sequence factor in it, but it's I like the motion. I like the artistic sense of what's happening here, and it's a sleeper because it looks very quiet as you're watching it now, and as you get through it, there's a few surprises. The music is enjoyable. So again, I can imagine living with this if this didn't become something amazing, successful. I think that's what I'm seeing interesting I'm learning about my own taste right now. So having watched these, the commonality in the 3 artists that I've chosen, the works that I've looked at that have spoken to me, have all got the kaleidoscopic kind of essence to them, with really intriguing new music sounds. So there's some
right. That's one thing that I noticed as well. One of the things I like about all 3 of those is this kind of the audio. They've all have very crystal clear highs. The high notes are really precise and sharp. And I find that there's a word for that it's kind of escaping me right now. That sort of 3D audio sense. Binaural, is that the word? There's something very nice about those crystal highs.
Yeah. And I'm a very intuitive kind of buyer. Okay, I mean, I try and put all the logic there, but in the end, it has to speak to me before I even engage in the aspect of interest about purchasing. So there's something here that speaks to me. And I'm now, having looked at this at least 5 times, along with the other ones, it's held up. So often works can catch your attention immediately, but they don't hold. And this is still holding and actually added some more intrigue. So it's sad if you acquire work and then it becomes dead and really has no space in your heart or your mind. after a few viewings. So this,
So you think this has legs?
Yeah, it has legs, and I need that. So it's changing again now. So that's the important factor, I think, is there is a life in it that continues to keep my interest.
Okay. Yeah, you can just go back to those arrows. And...
Okay, so that's it. 0.3, is that it? No zero after that one. I see. Okay, so confirm. So confirmed it.
Yeah.
Guess I need to now go down the screen to see if it's been accepted or
You
registered.
can, you can, if you want, you can wait for it to confirm. Again, Ethereum is a bit slow today. There's a lot of volume with the market going crazy.
Okay.
If you want, you can go move on to the next piece or wait. Up to you. What's next on the list?
Martin Lucas Ostacho. Okay, we're starting over again. Maybe I should change my offer now.
No, that's it, right? 1 ETH, right?
Yeah, you're making me nervous. Gee, I did too much for that. I don't know what's going to be. I really like but I'm really liking the other two a lot. So this one takes on is less desirous. Interestingly, yet I'm paying more money for it because I've been, in my mind, suckered into the previous price point. So I'm caught up in that kind of game. In real life, if I lost this, I'd be okay. But we'll see where it goes. Is that kind of stuff you don't want to hear?
No. I mean, that's totally fair. I mean, James has a pretty great system when it comes to figuring out the price. You know, the average price, what is likely to get accepted. Well, you know, that sort of stuff. And James does an awful lot of research before. I think it's fair to say before he goes through and bids.
And that was what I was looking for. Was your guidance on those bids, James? You were cautious on that.
Yeah. But I think you made a great selection there. These are artists, proven artists. They have solid background, consistency. So those are really good bids.
James, you covered your butt on that one. So I won't hold out much hope then that those bids will be accepted. It could be a surprise.
Let's see.
Okay. See you guys.
Thanks, Barrie. Always a pleasure. Take care of yourself.